Greetings in the Lord. One of the reasons that the church has survived for the last 2,000 years is the fact that it has always known how to respect different forms of spirituality. It's always been one of our great strengths. How sad it is then when sometimes you find people in the Catholic tradition who are trying to force people to adopt only one form of spirituality. There are many different ways of arriving at God. Let's take a look at some of them. First of all, there is what one might call a form of nature mysticism, in which we simply arrive at a sense of the presence of God in creation. It's amazing how many nature mystics there are out there in our Catholic tradition. But in the past, a lot of times they've been made to feel uncomfortable with this spirituality because they were called pantheists. Well, there's another form that is more orthodox of recognizing God in nature, and that is called panentheism, that acknowledges the fact that God is present in all of creation. A second type of spirituality has to do with relationship with God on a more conscious level. This would be a dialogical approach in which we are speaking to the Lord all the time. This would be the kind of spirituality that relies heavily on the Scriptures and is engaged in an ongoing dialogue throughout the day with the Lord, as if He were our best friend and present right here in our midst. Another type of spirituality that is just as valid is that which we would call liturgical spirituality. A spirituality that seems to arrive at a union with God as a result of the various rites and rituals and different practices that are present in our faith. Things like, for example, the Stations of the Cross, or benediction, or the liturgy at Mass. For some people, this is their greatest religious peak experience. And then finally, there are some people who arrive at their greatest experience of God through silence and through just being still and quieting the rational mind. And it is in the silence that one hears the voice of God for those kind of people. Now, one of the things to keep in mind is this, that all these forms of spirituality are perfectly valid. And secondly, just as important to keep in mind is this, that one can combine these different types of spirituality in one's life. For example, in my own life, I try to say the liturgy every day that meets one need, read the Scriptures, meditate silently, and also go for a run in which I get in touch with nature. So, one thing to keep in mind is simply this: do whatever works for you. In Catholicism, there isn't only one way of arriving at God. The important thing is that we arrive at union with God, and how we get there is left up to us.